Everyone, and welcome to the June 9th, 2025 Eugene City Council meeting. Thank you for joining us in this hybrid meeting format. Anyone wishing to access this meeting remotely can do so by watching the live stream on our website, the broadcast on Comcast Channel 21, or by following the access instructions listed on the city's public webcasts and meetings materials webpage. Tonight's meeting will also include a public comment period. If you wish to speak and have not already done so, please fill out a request to speak form on our public webcasts and meetings materials webpage or at the entrance to this room. We will accept requests to speak forms until 7:35 p.m. These forms will be used to generate the random order of speakers and correctly enter speakers' names into the public record. The public comment period will be limited to 90 minutes or conclude at 10 p.m., whichever occurs first. If the number of speakers exceeds the time that we have allotted, we encourage speakers to consider abbreviating their remarks so that the maximum number of speakers can be heard from tonight. And those joining the meeting remotely for the public comment period, you are welcome also to email your comments to the City Council. That is also true of people giving comment in person. As a reminder, Council's meeting rules of conduct apply to all attendees, both in the chambers and in the lobby, including no flags, signs, loud or disruptive language, noise, or conduct that obstructs the business of the council. Please keep the room quiet and respectful for all speakers, and you are welcome to wave your hands in silent support. Additionally, we encourage all those that are ill or who have had close contact with others that are ill to join our meetings remotely rather than in person, and we have masks available in the lobby if you need one. In case of a medical emergency, an automated external defibrillator, an AED, is located on the counter behind staff at the west side of the room, and emergency exits are through the double doors located at the back of the room or the double doors near the front of the room. The doors to the patio can also be used as needed. And with that, I call the June 9th, 2025 meeting of the Eugene City Council to order. We begin with a land acknowledgement. Since time immemorial, the Kaliapuu people have been the indigenous stewards to our region, building dynamic communities, maintaining balance with wildlife, and enacting sustainable land practices. This land acknowledgement is a way of resisting the erasure of indigenous histories and to honor Native communities by inviting truth and reconciliation. Following treaties between 1851 and 1855, Kaliapuu people were dispossessed of their indigenous homeland by the United States government and forcibly removed to the Coast Reservation in Western Oregon. As we consider the impacts of colonization, we also acknowledge the strength and resiliency of displaced indigenous people. The city of Eugene is built within the traditional homelands known as Kalapuya Alihi. Kalapuya descendants are citizens of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians of Oregon. They continue to make contributions in our communities here and across the lands. We express our respect for the inherent political sovereignty of all federally recognized tribal nations and indigenous people who live in the state of Oregon and across the nation. Our first item on tonight's agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. In recognition of Flag Day, we will open tonight's meeting with the pledge. And to lead us in this pledge, we are joined by Zev Wax, a member of the Youth Advisory Council. The Youth Advisory Council, also known as the YAC, gives Eugene high school students a chance to have their voices heard by the city of Eugene and the broader community by creating a space where student perspectives can influence and initiate policy at the city government level. Zev will now lead us in the pledge. Welcome, Zev, and please stand with us if you are able.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That concludes our first agenda item. Our second item on tonight's agenda are ceremonial matters. And I would like to make a few remarks about proclamations this month. So for the month of June, I have asked for a series of proclamations to be prepared for the city of Eugene. Proclamations are ceremonial documents signed by the mayor and issued to organizations and/or businesses in Eugene to bring attention to public awareness campaigns, charitable campaigns, arts and cultural celebrations, and special honors on the recommendation of the mayor. For the entirety of June 2025, we are proudly celebrating Eugene LGBTQ+ Pride Month and National Immigrant Heritage Month. We also acknowledge the full complexity of American history, including our country's history of slavery and discrimination, as we will commemorate Juneteenth on June 19th. And then we will celebrate the longest day of the year on the summer solstice, June 21st, and National HIV Testing Day on June 27th. At the end of the month of May, as just one additional note, I issued a special proclamation on May 30th celebrating the Eugene Weekly's many issues and contributions to the fabric and future of the city and the community of Eugene, but especially to their many-decade commitment to showcasing the Willamette Valley's vibrant arts and cultural scene. And at the end of this month, at the end of June, I will also issue another special proclamation celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Prefontaine Classic track meet. This year's Prix will be held on Saturday, July 5th, and it celebrates the indomitable spirit of Steve Prefontaine, which is always present in this community, and that event promises again to be the best athletics competition in the world this year. Another of our ceremonial matters this evening is our Youth Advisory Council's annual report. This is an additional ceremonial item, happens just once a year. We will shortly be receiving a brief summary from the Youth Advisory Council of summary of their annual report, the full text of which will be sent to Council and has been sent to Council with last week's packets. Before we begin that report, however, I would like to recognize the 9 members of the Youth Advisory Council who are graduating this year and ending their service on the Council. These seniors are Camille Brintnall, Samuel Klassen, the YAC Secretary, Samara Cooper, the YAC's Co-Chair, Luca Feldhoff-Choi, Lucy Fromm, Carmen Gonzalez-Valle, Antonio Luero Dunch, Kavya Marahtata, Ben Muse, and Brea Montgomery. Thank you all for your hard work, for your dedication to our community, for your incredible interest and curiosity about local government and your role in shaping local government, and for making student voices heard. All of the YAC members who are with us today, the Youth Advisory Council members, would you please stand and just be acknowledged? Thank you. I will now invite the YAC's co-chair, Layla Schrapp, to the podium to deliver the annual report.
Good evening, City Council. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present today. My name is Layla Schrapp, and as mentioned, I am the co-chair for the Mayoral Youth Advisory Council of Eugene. The Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, or YAC, is a group started by our late Mayor Venice in 2020, creating a space for youth voices and perspectives to be heard in our local government. The YAC has since been able to directly collaborate with many city officials, prominent figures, and projects, this year being no exception. As a council, we've had various opportunities for YAC members to use their skills and apply them onto outside collaborations. 2 of our members took on board positions for the Lane Youth Summit. Several members were personally interviewed for several city and county projects. Other members were panelists for the Civics Learning Project's Law Day, and 1 personally collaborated with the city's Urban Growth Strategies project. Our subcommittees were equally as engaged, shown by the sheer impact we've been able to create this year. Our equity subcommittee wrote not 1, but 2 projects, the first of which being a menstrual product drive partnered with Eugene Bleeds, then most recently resource bars, where we compiled a comprehensive list of city services, attaching them to dry foods and assisting our unhoused population. The legislation subcommittee successfully completed a 2nd annual Mock City Council meeting, further solidifying the event into an educational YAC tradition. And our last subcommittee, Crisis Support, conducted a very effective clothing drive in partnership with the EGAN Warming Center, ending the drive with an industrial truckload of donations. Yet, one of the most rewarding pursuits was our collaboration with the Eugene's Urban Growth Strategies project. The entire council was granted the opportunity to act as a youth voice over methods of surveying, walkability, affordability, and sustainable designs. Those conversations helped shape several policies in Phase 2 of Eugene's comprehensive plan, and in support, the YAC has written testimony in favor of the project, transcribing youth voices in Eugene policy forever. These special connections and projects were certainly fruitful, not only increasing visibility of the YSC and aiding the organizations to better understand the youth perspective, but it also gave our members valuable insight to the inner workings of city functions, ways in which we as a society can work best to achieve common goals, and how we as youth have the power to pave our collective future. Thank you, City Council.
Thank you, Layla, and thank you to the Youth Advisory Council for all of your work. That concludes our second agenda item. Our third item on tonight's agenda is committee reports and items of interest. I will now open the floor for committee reports and items of interest from councilors. Councilors, as a reminder, please press the button at the bottom of your microphones to unmute, and then mute yourself again when you are done speaking. And Councilor Groves, you are up first.
Thank you, Mayor. I normally deliver a monthly update for the Intergovernmental Relations Committee work. The IGR committee this month decided we'll wait until a little later in the month, and there's going to be a work session on this. So we'll have a more comprehensive report provided by our IGR manager. So anyway, that's why I'm not making the report tonight, if you're wondering. Thank you.
Councilor Keating.
Who's going to tackle the late comment? Anyone?
I will clarify.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. It's a teaching moment. Speaking of, I want to thank Mr. Kyle Yamada, Eugene International High School instructor, for inviting me to present today and engage with South Eugene's IHS Civics and Engagement class. Their end of term projects ranged from taking on the affordable healthcare system, the nursing shortage, issues with the foster care system, budget cuts from city government, affordable housing, shelter for the unhoused, improving pedestrian safety, and a transportation plan without cars, and finally, wildfire risk improvement and forest management. It was an awesome opportunity to spend time with the students and learn about their passions, and hear about their plans for the future, and then stump them with how are you going to pay for all these great ideas. It was a great opportunity to be on campus this morning and kick off my day. So thanks so much to Mr. Yamada and the South Eugene IHS International Civics and Engagement class. It was an awesome time.
Councilor Zelenka.
Right. I wanted to thank all the YAC members for your being on the committee and serving and getting a head start on everybody else in public service. Although I don't think it's a very good idea for you to mock city council. It's just not nice. I also want to let the council, I have a business conflict on a Wednesday, so I won't be able to make that meeting.
Thank you, Councilor Zelenka. The clarifying comment that I was in conversation with Councilor Keating about is that we are very fortunate that our former mayor, Lucy Vinnis, is not in fact late, but simply the former mayor. She is still with us and still an incredibly vibrant part of our community. And just to clarify, in case anyone heard that reference, and Layla, I know you didn't mean that. And absolutely. And Mayor Vinnis is very proud of the work of the Youth Advisory Council, and I know I speak absolutely for her in saying how much she appreciates the work of this group and former previous year. Thank you. Thank you all. And that concludes our third agenda item. I will now turn to the city manager to introduce our fourth agenda item.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight you have an opportunity to approve funding for 2 new development proposals and a gap funding request for a previously awarded project, all submitted in response to the 2025 Affordable Housing Trust Fund request for proposals. Recommended funding prioritizes development starting in the coming 12 months and includes Legacy Park by Cascade Housing Association, Park Run by Community Development Partners, and gap funding for the Lucy by Cornerstone Community Housing. This funding will help create 205 new affordable homes and ensure the financial stability of an existing development. And staff are here to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions from council? I have one quick question, really just a clarification for the record. And as many of you know, I participated as a member of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund when it began and departed when I became a candidate to be the mayor of Eugene. And this year's, that discussion and the work of that advisory committee, working with staff to bring forward a recommendation, is always very robust conversation, and they're always great projects. And of course, this is working to meet a priority goal of this council and a goal of our community. Staff, I'm wondering if you could just speak a little bit to the Floral Hill Community Land Trust project and the support that the committee had for that project, and also the fact that there was some additional information and support from the state and federal LIHTC funds that came to the Park Run project. Could you just speak a little bit to those two and how it is that this recommendation has come forward to council as it has, and what we will be accomplishing in totality, we hope, with this decision and future work?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. My name is Laura Hammond. I work with the Community Development on Affordable Housing Production. And I will speak to the Floral Hill proposal, which proposed to create some very valuable, affordable home ownership opportunities in our community. And it's an excellent proposal. It is in the very early stages of its development, so it's still in the process of attempting to acquire the site. It will be doing some land use applications. It will be doing some site development, and then it will be able to start constructing housing probably in 2027. So with the Park Run development, which was the one that has been recommended through the recommended motion, that development actually is ready to start construction pretty much this summer, late summer, maybe into the fall. They were awarded some competitive, time-sensitive state funding, including low-income housing tax credits, public activity bonds, and LIFT funds. So they got about a $54 million worth of state funding that has to be spent basically by starting construction at the end of this year. That project was prioritized. It will create 158 new units that will be open by 2027, and 29 of those units will serve our lowest income households at 30% AMI and below. So our committee has a very challenging job in that we typically get far more proposals than we have funding to supply. This year, they did recommend Floral Hill for a $200,000 award. The staff recommendation prioritized Park Run because of the number of units, the time sensitivity of their state funding, and we also wanted to say that if for some reason they're not able to make that state funding deadline, then that funding would come back to council to be awarded potentially to Floral Hill if you decide to do that. In the meantime, we are going to be working with Floral Hill to secure $200,000 to help them keep moving forward on purchasing their site. So that is in the works, and we're working with them and had that conversation, and they are supportive of that. So is that?
Thank you. And just to clarify, that process of working with the Floral Hill Community Land Trust, that $200,000 that you just mentioned, that's equal to the amount that was also recommended by the committee?
It is,
to move
yes.
forward? Thank you. Any other questions, clarifications for this item? Okay. Oh, thank you. Sorry, shifting from work session. Councilor Zelenka.
Thanks. I was going to ask the same question, so thanks for that. Could you, the Floral Hill Community Land Trust is kind of a different model than we're used to, where we build affordable housing and people pay a modest rent to it. But this is a little different. This actually involves ownership. Can you describe that and why it's different from everybody else and how it works?
Sure. Thank you,
This is
Councilor. It is called the Community Land Trust because the developer, which is a local nonprofit called Dev Northwest, will continue to own the land underneath the houses. And by doing so, that reduces the cost of the actual house. The home buyer is buying just the house. The land underneath stays in the ownership of Dev Northwest so that they can keep those units affordable long-term. The ownership, it's an ownership model, so they buy the house. They do pay a small land lease each month toward that land that their house sits on, but they will gain the equity in their home over time so that as a homeowner, like, they can take advantage of that equity should they ever decide to move.
Yeah, and it's a pretty low threshold. It's 80% adjusted median income, which is $71,000 for a household of four. that will be able to buy a house. And what we desperately need is actual affordable housing that people can purchase, and the price range per unit is going to be like 534-ish
I think each unit's around 250, 275.
for the total cost, and then
Of
you
the-
deduct the land, and it's
Right,
Right,
right.
so-
So that would be what the homeowner would be
Would be
looking
the
at for a
255
sale price, yeah.
right, which is very affordable for low-income people.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Keating.
Thank you, Mayor. There's a fascinating article in The Guard a couple months, I think March of this year, that lays out the affordable housing projects that are coming to Eugene, and it's nice to see them coming to fruition. My question is around the 36 affordable housing units through Cornerstone Community Housing, dubbed the Lucy. Is there any relation to the former mayor?
Wow. Unfortunately, no.
That's too
But
bad.
it's
'cause
named after another important Lucy.
It would be awesome if we could also approve the Karen or the Kitty or,
Yeah.
you know, there's opportunity there. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm enthusiastically supportive. Thanks so
Thank you.
much.
Thanks a lot.
Councillor Groves.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much for the information. One quick question. So since this is going to be owner-occupied, when down the road the owner decides to liquidate the property and move into something else, I'm assuming there's restrictions over who could buy that?
Correct, yes, it'll stay income qualified for at least 99 years. The ground lease is for 99 years, so,
Great. I just want to make sure if we're investing in that, that there's something that takes it into perpetuity.
yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate the question.
If there are no thank you, staff. If there are no other questions, I'll turn.
I just wanted to point out that our naming policy actually requires you to have passed away. So having them.
We're going to stick
might
around.
be a while.
We're going to stick around. That's our
Before
plan.
you see the Karen.
That's our plan. With no further questions from council, I'll turn to the council president to put a motion forward.
Move to approve the use of $373,832 of affordable housing trust funds for Legacy Park by Cascade Housing Association. B, $200,000 of affordable housing trust funds for Park Run by Community Development Partners contingent upon maintaining state funding awarded in 2025. And C, $136,047 of affordable housing trust funds for the Lucy by Cornerstone Community Housing.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion from council? Seeing none, I will now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your vote on the tablets in front of you. And I see Councilor Kaczynski voting in the affirmative. The motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Thank you, City Council. That concludes our fourth agenda item. Our fifth item on tonight's agenda is Consent Calendar 1. Consent Calendar 1 includes the approval of City Council minutes, the approval of City Council's tentative agenda, approval of appointment to Police Commission, and approval of the Police Auditor Employment Agreement. If there are no questions from council, I'll turn to the council president to put a motion forward.
I move to approve the items on consent calendar 1.
Second. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Please lock in your votes on the tablets in front of you. With an affirmative from Councilor Kaczynski, the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Thank you. That concludes this agenda item. And staff, just so you know, votes are disappearing before they're complete off my tablet, or near, or very, very quickly. But as long as you have them, we're good, in case I miss something. Let's see here. Next agenda item, our sixth agenda item, I'll turn to the city manager to introduce the topic, which is appointments to boards, commissions, and committees.
Thank you, Mayor. Every year, the City of Eugene holds an annual recruitment to appoint members to the city's boards, commissions, and committees. For the 2025 annual recruitment, applications were accepted between January 1st and January 31st, and 3-minute statements took place on April 14th. Tonight, you'll be presented with motions for appointments that were prepared based on the nominations made by counselors and Mayor Knutson. The nomination totals are available in your meeting packet as attachments A and B to this agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is a long series for those of you who are following along, appointing all of our new members of boards and commissions through votes and committees through votes of the council. So just for those who are with us and wondering how this process is going, if you look at your agenda, you can have a sense of that. If there are no questions from council, I'll turn to the council president to put the first motion forward.
Move to reappoint Shaban Council to the Budget Committee for a 4-year term beginning July 1st, 2025, and ending on June 30th, 2029.
Second. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, councilors, please lock in your votes. Councilor Kaczynski in the affirmative. Councilor Groves, I did not, oh, thank you. We have a vote of 8-0, and the motion passes. Now turn to the council president for the next motion.
I move to reappoint Ryan Konofsky to the Budget Committee for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2029.
Second. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, we'll now take a vote for this motion, and the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Thank you. Council President, please put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint Thomas Boyette to the Budget Committee for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2029.
Second. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, we'll now take a vote for this motion. And that motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Moving on to our Civilian Review Board. Turn to the council president for the next motion.
Move to reappoint Richard Rosetta to the Civilian Review Board for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2028.
Second. Thank you. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, we'll now take a vote for this motion. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Council President, please put the next motion forward.
Move to reappoint Monique Griffin to the Citizen Review Board for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2028.
Second. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, now take a vote for this motion to the Civilian Review Board. The motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Council President, please put the next motion forward.
Move to reappoint Noah Kuhn to the Civilian Review Board for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2028.
Second. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, now take a vote for this motion. And that motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Thank you. Council President, please put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint Elise Josephson to the Civilian Review Board for a partial term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2026.
Second. Any discussion? Seeing none from council, I'll now take a vote for this motion. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Thank you. Moving on to the Human Rights Commission. Turn to the council president to put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint Brittany Banna to the Human Rights Commission for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2028.
Second. Thank you. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. And that motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Council President, please put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint Jamie Bowman to the Human Rights Commission for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2028.
Second. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, take a vote for this motion. And that motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Council President, please put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint Elena Ullman to the Human Rights Commission for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2028.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, we'll take a vote for this motion. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Council President, please put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint Juniper Christensen to the Human Rights Commission for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2028.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, we'll take a vote for this motion. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Moving on to our Toxics Board, I'll turn to the Council President to put the next motion forward.
Move to reappoint Naomi Torres to the Toxics Board for a 3-year advocacy representative term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2028.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, we'll now take a vote for this motion. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Turn to the Council President for the next motion.
Okay. Move to appoint Paul Ruscher to the Toxics Board for a partial term, advocacy representative term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2026.
Second.
Thank you. Any council discussion? Councilor Groves.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not sure who to direct this question to, but I'm seeing we're appointing 2 advocacy people to the Toxics Board. Is that putting us out of balance?
I think they're assigned positions, so I don't believe so. But, yeah.
I think we're filling a partial term with,
But that's why I'm curious if we've got the industry rep filled.
There is one industry rep open position, and we've not received an application from someone who would qualify as an industry rep.
So if we find an industry rep, is that application process still open?
Yes, I believe it is open right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Seeing no additional discussion, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes. And that motion is in process.
was already did it.
And that motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Moving on to the Planning Commission, I'll turn to the Council President to put the next motion forward.
Move to reappoint Diane Beling to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2029.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I will now take a vote for this motion. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Turn to the Council President for the next motion.
Move to appoint Kathleen Yang to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2029.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Next up is the Sustainability Commission, and I turn to the Council President to put the motion forward.
Move to reappoint Janice Bowman to the Sustainability Commission for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2029.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I will now take a vote for this motion. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Turn to the Council President to put the next motion forward.
Move to reappoint Mitra Gurwell to the Sustainability Commission for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2029.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. And that motion passes with a vote of 8-0. And I'll turn to the Council President for our next motion.
Move to appoint Jan Fillinger to the Sustainability Commission for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2029.
Second?
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll take a vote for this motion. And that motion passes with a vote of 8-0. I'll turn to the council president to put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint Emily Reynolds to the Sustainability Commission for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2029.
Second?
Thank you. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I will now take a vote for this motion. And that motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Next is our Historic Review Board. Turn to the council president to put the next motion forward.
Move to reappoint Nathan Markowitz to the Historic Review Board for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending June 30, 2029.
Second?
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I will take a vote for this motion. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. I'll turn to the council president for the next motion.
Move to reappoint Leslie Yates Pollard to the Historic Review Board for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending June 30, 2029.
Second?
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I will take a vote for this motion. And that motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Moving on to our Police Commission. Turn to the council president for the next motion.
Move to appoint Catherine Wilgus to the Police Commission for a partial term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2027.
Second?
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I will take a vote for this motion, and the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Turn to the council president for our next motion.
Move to appoint Martha Espinoza Blank to the Police Commission for a partial term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2028.
Second?
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll take a vote for this motion. That motion passes with a vote of...
It disappeared. I think
Councilor Ye is voting in the affirmative. We have a vote of
Councilor Ye disappeared.
8-0. Still here with us.
All right.
Moving on to the Willamette Citizen Planning Committee. Turn to the council president for the next motion.
Move to reappoint Josh White to the Willamette Citizen Planning Committee for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2028.
Second?
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I will take a vote for this motion. And that motion passes with a vote of 8-0. I'll turn to the council president for the next motion.
Move to appoint Steve Gibson to the Willamette Citizen Planning Committee for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2028.
Second?
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. And that motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Council President, please put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint Gabrielle Chatowitz to the Willamette Citizen Planning Committee for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2028.
Second?
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll take a vote for this motion, and the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Council President, please put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint Ronald Pemberton to Willamette Citizen Planning Committee for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2028.
Second?
Thank you. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion, and that motion passes with a vote of, let's see, looks like 8-0. Thank you, Councilor Keating. I will now turn to the council president to put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint Stacy Hardman to the Willamette Citizen Planning Committee for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and ending on June 30, 2028.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I will take a vote for this motion, and that motion passes with a vote of 8-0. All of our board, commission, and committee appointments are unanimous by the council. Thank you all for all of the work, to everyone who applied for and is now in service in these volunteer capacities. And that concludes this agenda item. The last item on tonight's agenda is the public comment period. Public comment period is an opportunity for individuals to speak to the city council on any city-related issues except for those items which have already been heard by hearings official. Staff, can you please share the list and number of speakers that signed up to speak by 7:35 p.m. and announce the first speakers?
Thank you, Mayor. We have 10 speakers this evening. I will announce 2 speakers' names at a time. When you are called to speak, please state your name and your ward or neighborhood, if known, before beginning your comments. When you are announced as the next speaker, please move to the seat in the front row designated for the next speaker. When it is your turn, you may come to the podium. Please leave any bags you may have with you at your seat. If you have documents to give council, please place them in the basket near the podium. You will have 2.5 minutes to speak. The timer will flash red when you have 15 seconds remaining to speak. Your microphone will be muted at the 2.5-minute mark. Please note that the use of profanity is prohibited, and any instances of profanity will result in immediate termination of speaking privileges. Our first speaker tonight is Lynn Woodrich, followed by Alan Alfredo Gormazano.
My name's Lynn Woodrich. I'm the Active Bethel Community Co-Chair. I've lived in the Bethel area over 30 years. I live in Ward 8. I'm speaking for the Active Bethel Community Board. Yesterday, I read the entire Public Health Standards Community Engagement Summary and the survey response report. It took me over 2.5 hours. I encourage you to read the survey response report as it's more representative of the actual community engagement. The survey only represents a small group of people who don't mind registering before they can take the survey. The way the questions were asked was confusing. I told everyone that they needed to make sure they clearly stated their responses in the essay area in case the way the question was worded caused them to answer in a way they didn't intend. A few of the responses. It's horrible that you make people register before they can take the survey. That's going to severely limit the number of responses you get. What will we be doing to prevent disasters like the J.H. Baxter site in the future? I found out about that site the day I signed the papers to purchase my home on Alva Park Drive. Don't make a survey so difficult to complete for the average person living in these impacted neighborhoods. Consider spreading industry to other areas of the city that aren't a lower-class, blue-collar neighborhood with families. I feel like this survey will be skewed toward fewer development standards because most people don't understand the true nature of the problem. By not indicating what the issues are that improved development standards are needed to address, it should be expected that you will have people opt for fewer regulations. Mentioning that the area is already heavily regulated will lead people to think that more regulations are unnecessary. It should come as no surprise if this survey reflects the Chamber of Commerce's position, either because the Chamber has a heavily financed campaign to mobilize its constituents. The problem with environmental justice is that people who are victims of it are least capable of defending themselves. They're too caught up with the perils of poverty that they don't even have access to the system to articulate their concerns. The current system is flawed, allowing a fuel tank farm and biofuels transfer station in a residential area. The J.H. Baxter site was there prior to the homes being built across the street, but it shows the horrific damage having an industrial business too close to homes. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Our next speakers are Alan Alfredo Gormazano, followed by Nancy Buffum.
Hello again, Council. A few things I want to talk about. A few responses to some of the things I heard before about the affordable housing project, and with the land being kind of leased with the house being owned. My concern is that in the future, the land fees don't get jacked up and jacked up and jacked up, because I have seen that in other places. You see that in mobile home parks also, where it was a cheap place to live and now you can't afford it because the prices went up so high. Also, you know, we've got our homeless issue going on, and the other night when I was out delivering, as I was leaving McDonald's, I saw a policeman with a homeless person, handcuffing them, when I came back for the next order, they were gone, but all of that person's belongings were just dumped onto the curb. And I don't know what happened to their belongings, if it was just thrown away or whatever, but, you know, when you're homeless like that, all your belongings matter, and I don't know what happened. So the main thing I came to speak about tonight, which I've spoken about before, but I see further developments in it, is the revamping of our roads. Seeing East Broadway being squeezed down to 2 lanes instead of 3 is just going to cause more traffic jams. It's not going to encourage more people to walk in a neighborhood there's not much to walk to, and the people that live in that neighborhood are mostly students. They're walking anyway. A wider sidewalk is not going to encourage people to walk. The turn from East Broadway onto Patterson is squeezed down into 1 lane from 2 lanes now, so you've got westbound and eastbound traffic squeezing into 1 lane to make that turn. To make it safer for its pedestrians, all you need there is a traffic light. You didn't need to spend all of our money on building yet another curb extension. And one of the things I read about it was that somehow we voters approved this project. I don't remember ever seeing anything like that when I was voting. I pay property taxes here, and I'm angry that my property taxes are going for something like that instead of really needed services in this city. So thank you very much. I do hope we don't end up with a traffic circle out there too, which I think that's in the plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfredo. Your time is concluded. Our next speakers are Nancy Buffum, followed by Danny Patch.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Nancy Buffum. I'm a resident of Ward 7. I bicycle for everyday transportation. So first, I'd just like to comment on how wonderful it is to be able to bicycle from North Eugene to City Hall. It's great. I'm here to offer some observations about Eugene's walkability and specifically the importance of our sidewalks as part of our transportation system. Sidewalks are part of our transportation system just as much as a bike lane or a travel lane for a vehicle. And not only that, but everyone walks. And the most vulnerable people walk, and people who cannot drive or do not drive, which may be up to 30% of the people when you count children, disabled people, elders, people who cannot afford a car, or people who do not have a license, use our sidewalks, and they need to be prioritized along with everyone who is walking, because walking is part of the livability of our city. I'd also like to say that sidewalk walkability is a citywide issue. Most recently, I've had the less than fun opportunity to use the sidewalk on River Road to go over to Chambers Street, where the project is stalled. And because as a cyclist, I need to go up on the sidewalk, I have noted how many people walk across that bridge. It's actually pretty busy. The sidewalk on the River Road side is a mess. And one of the things that I know you all are going to be working on sidewalks, and so I wanted to point out that there are resources that exist for subsidizing sidewalk repair for people whose responsibility it is have need. Those are untapped. And there's also a lot of goodwill and interest in this community of people who understand that sidewalks are important. So do not discount the support that you will have for repairing our sidewalks. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Our next speakers are Danny Patch, followed by Larry Craig.
Dan Patch. We don't trust you. All you do is lie to us constantly. Your greed for money is unstoppable. You develop these ideas of taking our voting levies, turning them into fees, and then you manipulate the rules after the fact so you can increase them and use them for whatever you wish. There's no parameters. There's no boundaries. You're just a bunch of greedy, cheating liars. You didn't spend $12 million on this building. You spent $70 million for yourself so you could have a toilet. We're sick and tired of this idea that we're not part of the decision, and what you're trying to do is eliminate our right to vote on what we have to pay for. Clearly, that is exactly what you're trying to do. You've proposed it. And you're the one, Madam Mayor, that came on board right when that happened. So you're part of the problem. You don't think that we should have a right to vote to control the expenses that we're responsible for. That's corruption. It's time for some of you to get out of here. You're no longer representing us, you're representing your own greed. It's pure and simple. You're that bad. Between the previous mayor and the current city manager, whoa, nothing but destruction. You don't care about what we want or what we have to pay for. You're just going to wring it out of us until there's nothing left. Then you change the rules so we don't even get to vote for it. You turn it into a fee. How cute. There's nothing cute about you. We're mad. People don't trust you. You giggle and laugh and act like somehow it's a game. And also, we want our 3 minutes back. It wasn't yours to take away. That was done by a whole vote by the entire room. And it's not your right to take that away from us. I think you people belong in prison.
Thank you, Danny. Our next speakers are Larry Craig, followed by Ellen Rifkin.
Good evening, Mayor and City Councilors. My name is Larry Craig. I reside in the Southeast Neighbors, Ward 2. I'm speaking this evening as a member of CURBS, Citizens United to Repair Our Broken Sidewalks, also the Wednesday Wheelers, and I'm here because we believe that safe, accessible sidewalks are essential for everyone in Eugene to connect with services, nature, culture, and one another. Unfortunately, too many of our sidewalks are badly damaged, impassable, or unsafe. And for those who rely on sidewalks to navigate the city, whether walking, rolling, or using mobility aids, these conditions can be isolating, dangerous, and unacceptable. The city's own sidewalk safety webpage says it well. Safe sidewalks are a benefit to pedestrians, people in wheelchairs, joggers, and others who use sidewalks to travel around town. Safe, clean, and hazard-free sidewalks promote mobility and livability for the citizens of Eugene. End quote. We're asking for two things. First, prioritize and expedite this overdue issue. We need a clear, actionable, and sustained plan to improve the condition of Eugene's sidewalks over the next 10 years. And second, to establish a stable, adequate, and equitable funding mechanism for ongoing sidewalk maintenance and repair, one that ensures low-income property owners have access to financial assistance. This is not just a property owner issue. Sidewalks are public infrastructure, like our streets and bike lanes, and they are essential to achieving our city's transportation equity and livability goals. The longer we delay, the more expensive and complicated this problem becomes. The time to act is now. We urge you to commit a citywide collaborative approach that addresses sidewalk reporting, funding, maintenance, and equity, and to do so with urgency. Thank you for your time and for your leadership on this important issue.
Thank you, Larry. Our next speakers are Ellen Rifkin, followed by John Borofsky.
Thank you. My name is Ellen Rifkin. I live in the River Road neighborhood, and I've lived in Eugene for 35 years. I respectfully urge you to use your authority to bar Avilo Airlines from our city's airport. I offer 2 reasons for this and request that you do the research to bring to bear your wisdom accordingly. First, through its contract with ICE, Avilo Airlines makes possible the unlawful detaining and deportation of parents, children, aunts and uncles, grandparents, teachers, farm workers, and community leaders, adults who are tax-paying individuals, overwhelmingly not the criminals that the federal government paints them to be, but overwhelmingly contributors to our society's economic and cultural flourishing. I do not want my own taxpayer dollars to facilitate the cruel and unlawful disruption of the lives of these families. Secondly, by allowing ICE use of our transportation infrastructure for these purposes through its contract with Avilo, we are supporting and enabling activity that circumvents the principle of due process, thus contributing to the undermining of our country's Constitution, which is proceeding apace all around us. While most of us can only pray or march or wring our hands or write letters, as elected officials, you have the opportunity to take meaningful action in defense of our vulnerable democracy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Our next speakers are John Borofsky, followed by Cameron Alexandria Stringfield.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Manager. John Borofsky, Ward 3. I'm here to talk about the agenda item you had earlier this evening, agenda item 4, the Affordable Housing Trust Fund allocations. As a member of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Advisory Committee, I would just like to thank you for moving that forward. As you know, affordable housing is a problem in our community. These funds help to build affordable housing that may not quite have enough money to get it there. We had several projects this year that we looked at. There was about $780,000 that was allocated by you earlier this evening. There was almost $2 million worth of asks, all good and excellent projects that were deserving. So as a committee, it's kind of like picking your favorite child, which is something that is very difficult to do. The committee had a robust discussion about all of the proposals that were put forward. We proposed something a little bit different than what staff put forward, but everybody on the committee was in favor of the changes. One of the things that we were advocating for was the Floral Hill Community Land Trust option. It's a new type of model, and that's one of the things that as a committee we are looking at, is being able to help put new models into our affordable housing system. So I'm looking forward to that project moving forward in the coming years. The one thing that I would also like to say is that we had $780,000 to allocate this year. But of that, $500,000 was out of the city's general fund. The actual amount that was collected from the building of new and new properties was only $280,000 this year. The need is bigger than there is, and if it weren't for the fact that the city is kicking in $500,000 in the proposed budget, which is an ongoing thing, and I'm thankful to the city manager and you guys being able to figure out how to do that. But we need to keep building more things, because every building that gets built puts money into that fund. So thank you for moving it forward, and continue the good work.
Thank you, John. Our next speakers are Cameron Alexandria Stringfield, followed by David Eigel.
Good evening, Cameron Stringfield, Ward 7. I'm with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. The community just fought for and barely saved our services that the city threatened to gut. What I got from this budget committee meetings is that for the city, cutting several services we as a community value and need was not a deal breaker. But no matter how many people came to these meetings and said they wanted EPD's budget to be cut, cutting their budget was a deal breaker. Ending the MUPD scheme was a deal breaker. A budget commentary over. What I came to talk about on the subject of EPD, though, is there are new flock cameras going up across the city that use AI to track license plates and surveil literally every Eugenian that drives, as if dozens of Guardian towers, drones, and cell phone tracking wasn't enough. As we're all reacting to the federal government sieging Los Angeles to facilitate massive ICE raids, and with the National Immigrant Heritage Month proclamation you approved of earlier in mine, it should be noted that ICE has illegally gained access to these cameras in San Diego. That seems like a massive concern to us in a sanctuary state where our city resources cannot help assist federal immigration authorities. It's also been used by the state of Texas to prosecute out-of-state abortions. We're a pro-choice state that people are supposed to feel safe in. My questions to the city are, can you assure that the community that no city resources whatsoever will be used to assist federal immigration efforts? Will you use your positions of power to speak out against the federal government's crackdown on immigrant communities and companies profiting off these atrocities, like as was mentioned earlier, Avello Airlines? By the way, the Connecticut mayor sent a letter to Avello condemning their actions. Maybe you can do the same, Mayor. The big question in front of you right now is if the federal government threatens intervention in Oregon like they do in California, will you stand up to them? Can immigrants truly call Eugene a sanctuary city? I ask that you clearly answer these questions to the best of your abilities today. If not, I gave my email address, so you have that. And there's more information here that tells you about the license readers and the ACLU criticizing them and how they've been used by ICE in California. So please read that if you have the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron. Our next speakers are David Eigel and Athena Aguiar.
David Eigel, Ward 1. I'm sure it'll surprise no one, I'm here to talk about a matter of history. I just wanted to give you a very quick example of the really, really bad history that was, whether it was the Racing to Change exhibit or the Dunn report or anything, that's really unfortunate. Understand what really happened is crooked fraternal order salesmen came here, lied to leading citizens initially, signed a lot of them up, got their $10. They quickly found out these people were not what they said they were, and they dropped out. Then all these other people who were promoting these fake histories were saying, oh, yeah, they were active Klansmen in a violent white supremacist Klan that, in point of fact, didn't exist. And I wanted to give you an example of the Reverend Frederick Jennings of St. Mary's Episcopal Church. Now, this is not a hidden history. This is something that's right there in the newspaper. You can read about it. So assuming he's part of that group signed up in summer 21 and quickly dropped out. Well, 1924 finds him serving on the Eugene School Board. And all of a sudden, without people explaining what they did, the board would hire the teachers every year. All of us, and without explanation, the Catholic teachers were not rehired. And there were at least two people on the board who were very upset about that, and one of them was Frederick Jennings. But if you read the history that comes from a lot of people, you'll believe that Jennings was pro-Klan. Actually, he's adamantly anti-Klan. I'll just read you a paragraph from the May 13th, 1924 Morning Register. The battle was officially closed by Mr. Jennings. I want you to feel, majority members of the board, that I congratulate you on what you have done, he said with sarcasm. All I wanted to do really was to make the teacher committee show its hand. I've accomplished this. Well, I hope I can get help from somebody on helping to spread the word on actual history. In any event, I'm going ahead. I'm going to have pay for some advertisements. I'm already distributing information in the thousands. That'll go in the 10,000 emails. And I'm going to fund some scholarships so that my materials will be available so long after I'm dead, people will be writing about this, including those who promoted fake history. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Our next and final speaker is Athena Aguiar.
Mayor, councilors, my name is Athena Aguiar, and I'm a resident of Ward 5. Please keep the fire fee on the ballot. The original argument from the petitioners was that they just wanted the voters to have a say, wasn't it? So let the voters have a say. Also, I did notice that there is no petition to put the stormwater fee increase on the ballot. Curious. I wonder why that is. I thought we wanted the voters to have a say so bad. You know, taxes help the city. How about along with the temporary stormwater fee increase, keep the fire fee on the ballot, and also implement a modified version of the proposed temporary city operations fee from that one work session, eliminating the 3 residential categories and maybe the general service 1 category that was probably just gonna tax small businesses? Here, I drew on the assistant city manager's chart to illustrate. My understanding is that the collection costs would be charged per bill by the vendor, so only charge large bills, and it suddenly seems a lot more worth the collection cost. Oh, and find a way to implement that business license fee I mentioned to you guys months ago, and do a carbon tax. With all those taxes, can you imagine the long-term fiscal stability, Councilor Clark? Morgan Mann would drool at how the reserves would grow. You have the perfect opportunity right now. The city is ready to pay a new tax. When does that ever happen? Let us vote on the fire fee. We can dream up a super rich Eugene together on a new committee. Speaking of, when you say citizen fiscal advisory committee, do you mean unofficial Chamber of Commerce representatives, or do you mean we, the people? I think instead you should tell Ty to make a budget committee revenue subcommittee. Apparently he has that power to do it unilaterally as chair. But if there is going to be a fiscal advisory committee, can I be on it? Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Athena. Mayor, that was our final speaker.
Thank you. I will now close the public comment period. Any comments from City Council? Seeing none, I will now make sure Councilor Kaczynski, Councilor Keating.
Thank you, Mayor. We're rapidly approaching the end of the legislative session. Sine die is imminent, and we have to constitutionally adjourn by the 29th of this month, which frees up my daytime schedule to meet with sidewalk enthusiasts. So, Larry, I thank you for joining us, and I've received a multitude of emails longing for getting together to prioritize sidewalks as public infrastructure. So thank you, and I concur. It's a long time coming. So I look forward to being a collaborative partner in that endeavor moving forward.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other comments from City Council? Seeing none, I will now close the June 9th, 2025 City Council meeting. We are adjourned.